How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Real Night. My name is Jabril. Today we are doing the R&R for Season 3 of Dexter. If you're new, this is a season wrap-up where I dive into a bunch of stuff. It's all timestamped down there for you guys, so if you want to skip to a specific part, feel free to do so. But yeah, I'm not going to waste too much time here. Let's get into it. Gail may come back. I don't know if it's going to be this season, next season, whatever, but I believe that she'll probably come back at some point. She didn't come back, but she definitely dropped a little bit of spice in that last episode. Threw us a little plot point there, but I don't know how far that's going to go. More on that later on. Sure, we're going to do a deep dive into Dexter's new hybrid form. We got a number of style changes, strangulation being a major standout. We did get something like that in Season 1, Episode 1, when he first captured, what was his name? Mike Donovan. That was it. That was his name. In that episode, he didn't finish the job with strangulation. He just used it as a means of controlling Mike. Hoping we get some more progress with Deb internally. We did. More on that in the tier list. I think that the Doak situation is going to really plague Maria. She was seemingly alright and able to perform her job well. We did get a couple of hints dropped here and there, but nothing really major. I think we have quite a bit to settle as far as the department goes. The department did go through a few changes, namely Quinn's introduction into the story and Batista getting promoted to sergeant. You know, a lot of this was probably pretty obvious, but anyway. Before we begin, honorable mention to episode number 12. There were quite a few great moments in that episode, namely Dexter and Harry's scene when he's on the table, as well as the wedding, of course. I didn't really put it on these top 3 lists because, I don't know, it was just a tad bit lackluster to me. I didn't love it as much as I loved some of the other episodes. Still figured I'd give it a shout out though. In our number 3 spot, we have episode number 6. This episode had to make it on the list because to me, this was the perfect point in Dexter and Miguel's relationship. Miguel kind of using his influence and powers as an ADA, and Dexter doing the dirty work. I think that would have been a perfect combination for a really lethal duo. They probably could have accomplished a lot if they kept going like that and Miguel didn't push for more. In spot number 2, we have episode number 10. I enjoyed the back and forth manipulation game they were both playing in this episode. The tension really built and built until that final confrontation on the rooftop where Miguel's mask slipped and, he showed his true colors. Even though some portions of what happened up there made me laugh, I still think it is one of my favorite scenes from the season. Plus, it was definitely my favorite episode to edit. And in our number 1 spot, we have episode number 11. I feel like this should have been saved for the finale, and it probably would have been if Miguel hadn't, wanted to kill Maria, causing Dexter to have to escalate the situation. But for me, this was definitely the culmination of everything that had happened in the season thus far. Excluding the wedding, of course. The final scene when everything is coming to the surface and Miguel is just consistently trying to weasel his way out, saying whatever he thinks Dexter wants to hear to get himself out of the situation, or maybe even buy himself time, because it did look like he was getting out. Up until that moment when Miguel realized that 1, Dexter killed his brother, and 2, he was going to go through with killing him, and everything just dropped, and that volatile, hate-fueled side of him just came to the surface. Such a nuanced scene as well, with the reversed audio that they played at the end, and that parallel with Dexter saying he killed his brother and having killed Miguel's brother, and then playing that. It's a really well put together scene, and again, another one of my favorites. Let me know in the comments which episodes you guys liked the best, or what moments you enjoyed from the season. Honorable mentions before we begin. We have Barbara. She's a B. Not really too much development for her. I'm glad that she let Angel off with a warning. And I'll be interested to see the relationship going forward, because I don't know if she can fully be trusted. I don't know who Deb heard that information from. It had to start from Barbara, because she was the only one that really knew about it. Tegan, Hobag.
She's a hoe. She's such a hobag.
I was watching through those previous episodes and that just made me laugh. We have Syl. She's a B. Happy for Rita to have a nice friend in her, but we haven't gotten too much beyond the rightfully so mistrusting spouse. Yuki, she's a C. I really did not enjoy her at all. No real redemption for the character either. She was just kind of confrontational, rude the entire time. Maybe for good reason, because, that partner situation did happen and it was Quinn's fault. But I feel like there were so many different ways she could have went about it to actually achieve that, especially when meeting Deb and getting to know how she acts. She could have just switched up her game, or maybe even back off, as I mentioned before. And we have Ellen Wolf. She probably would have been a B, but that whole foot massage situation just threw me off.
Those big, gorgeous hands of yours.
She landed on C. Alright, kicking off the list, we have Angel Batista. Angel has been one of the most consistently good characters. Not necessarily the choices that he makes, but just his character as a whole. He does have his vices, but at the end of the day, he does tend to come back to that honesty factor that his father instilled in him. Love the guy, he landed on A. Vince Masuka. So we did get a bit of progression for Vince this time around. It didn't really stick. He went pretty much exactly back to the way he was before that whole situation happened, where nobody was, reciprocating his friendship. He is in a new relationship now, so maybe that will change his character down the road. I guess we'll see. He went up from C to a B. Ramon Prado. Yeah, he was alright. We didn't really get too much from him beyond just being a revenge-hungry drunk. We did, however, meet him in the middle of grief and a bad situation, but I still would have loved to see a bit more nuance to his character. Maybe some more scenes with his family, maybe some more exposition on that. But there is only so much time that they have in each episode. He landed on C. Harry Morgan. I don't really know if I would consider this Harry, because we have been told multiple times that it is just Dexter's projection of Harry that we're seeing now. Still, I did kind of like the Conscience version, Jiminy Cricket style Harry, and turning the monologues into conversations, I think, was an interesting choice narratively, and I enjoyed it for the most part, so he landed on B. Anton. Pretty laid-back guy, unfortunately got caught up in a bunch of stuff, and it's not like he's some kind of heavy drug dealer or anything like that. He's just, it's weed. He had a couple good jokes here and there, probably more than I have, so I think he can definitely provide something good for Deb, because he does have that separate perspective that Deb was mentioning in that last episode. It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic grows moving forward, if it does. He landed on a B. Maria LaGuerta. Let's just give Maria just a round of applause, okay? She made it through the season without doing anything horrendous and actually making some moves for good. I still really don't feel much for her character. I hope she still makes good moves going forward. And I'll keep an open mind, of course. Speaking of keeping an open mind, we have Joseph Quinn. I'm not a fan. I'm sure you guys know, at least not right now. I don't believe the whole rich uncle left him property or whatever story that he told. That could be the true case, because in the show they do tend to lay things out bluntly like that and then just leave them. So I don't know if there's going to be more to the story, but I personally don't trust him still. He's a C. Rita Bennett. I love Rita a lot, as I've said multiple times throughout many videos. I'm glad to see that her relationship with Dexter has flourished to the point that it has, and that she's made a new friend in Syl. I don't know if Syl's going to be coming back for the next season, but her emotional strength continues to grow as the seasons have gone on. I think one moment that really highlights that in this season was just her decision to keep the baby, regardless of if Dexter was going to be around to help her or not. She landed on an A. Deborah Morgan. We got a lot of Deb this season, and I'm very happy for that. I mentioned it in the last R&R that I was hoping for some more progression for her character, and they definitely, came through and provided that. While I don't necessarily think she's on as good of a path as she was on in the beginning of the season, she definitely ended it in a happier and maybe more stable position than she was in back then. I would like to see her get a little bit more inner strength before she too heavily depends on other people, because I think that was one of her main issues, and she'll probably need that support. going forward, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the prediction section. She landed on an S. Miguel Prado. Out of all of the confidants turned enemies that we've seen so far in this show, I think Miguel has to be my favorite. Maybe his manipulation worked on me, I don't know. But being able to see their camaraderie and just the understanding that Miguel seemed to be offering Dexter made me really wish that, one, that was Miguel's true character that we were seeing, and two, he would have stuck around for seasons to come. But unfortunately, we can't really have nice things for Dexter for too long. I feel like it's only a matter of time before, well, we'll get to that in the predictions. Coño! Anyway, I think Miguel will go down as one of my favorites of all time, along with Dokes. I'm not gonna battle it out right now for who I favor more. We'll save that for like the end of the show or something, but Dokes and Miguel, they're up there. He, of course, landed on an S. And lastly, we have Dexter Morgan. The writers continue to expand his character and go down avenues that are familiar yet new. You know, it's always about Dexter trying to expand and form relationships. Exploring these different avenues has provided a lot of varied and compelling story, I think. That, coupled with the fact that we get to witness a lot of his inner dialogue and those little conversations that he has with his projected, Harry, really just serves to make him an extremely compelling character because we know him sort of inside and out. I guess it would be maybe first person in a way, or a combination of third person, limited, and first person. Anyway, I'm definitely loving Dexter for sure. I mean, the show wouldn't be anything without him. The show is called Dexter for a reason. He landed on S, of course. Loving the character. Nothing has happened to make me hate Dexter. So yeah, that's gonna complete the list. Top comment on episode 1 coming from DeWitts. One of the OG first 3. Yeah, this season is my favorite, to be honest. I love Jimmy Smits and the addition of his character to the story. Yeah, Jimmy Smits really killed it in this role. I loved him a lot, and again, he's one of my favorites. Episode 2 top comment coming from Smith Polly. One of the makers of the show said something along the lines of when Dexter is going through the cheering crowd in the last scene of season 1, and he says,
"Yeah, they see me. I'm one of them. In their darkest dreams."
He's not just talking about the crowd in the show, but could also be talking to us, the audience, since most of the viewers are rooting for Dexter. Yeah, that is something that they really do well in this show. I mentioned it, I think, in the first season reaction, just the way that they get you to root for Dexter is really well done, I think. This is talking about that moment of recognition when I mentioned that specific point. The moment that Miguel found out that Dexter had killed Freebo and he was like extremely thankful. And it's really kind of the first time that anybody has thanked Dexter for killing somebody. But we got that, I think, twice in this season. One with Camilla and one with Miguel. But Camilla didn't really thank him, she just said it was good that he did it. Episode 3 top comment coming from Vale. I love your Dexter reactions. I really do appreciate it. They are a lot of fun to make and edit, and it's nice to kind of dive into shows and sort of try to break them down a little bit. Try to make these reactions just not necessarily reactions by themselves, but maybe a little bit of commentary. Glad you're enjoying them. Episode 4 top comment coming from Mr. Rich. Great reaction, man. Only thing that sucks is I'm all caught up on your Dexter videos, so feel free to put another one out. Yeah. It is just me. This is a one-man show at this point. It does take me a little bit more time than maybe a lot of other reaction channels to edit videos. They're definitely not at the quality that I want them to be at yet, but I try to make them as high quality as I can, so that takes a little bit extra time. Episode 5 top comment coming from 73 Aguilara. We're not going to do that again. When the season first aired, it was my least favorite up until that point. Now it seems like every time I rewatch it, I enjoy it more and more. Also, I agree that them starting to show Harry as a ghost instead of just the memories was a great addition to the show. I definitely agree with that. I really enjoy that addition. It's nice to get kind of a conversational type of thought process rather than just the monologues, because I think it kind of mirrors how real thought works. I don't know if you guys think like that. Maybe I'm crazy. Probably what helps me make these videos too, because I am just talking to myself. Episode 6 top comment coming from Audrey Quinn. I've been really engaged watching your reactions to Dexter. I've seen the first 4 seasons, and I thought they were all well written with believable and mostly likable characters. Dex is an anti-hero, and even though he's a remorseless murderer, it's hard not to root for him. You're very insightful. I really appreciate all the compliments, guys. Dexter certainly fits the mold of an anti-hero. His nature is at odds with society, and he is driven by self-satisfaction. However, the code tends to make his actions seem less reprehensible, at least in the eyes of the audience. And when considering something like the Dark Triad, he has hit all 3 points. Episode 7 top comment coming from Cess. The Camilla actress is a pretty well-known character actress, Margot Martindale. Same one in BoJack Horseman as herself, if you've watched that one. I haven't watched BoJack Horseman. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, but I mean, I'll take your word for it for sure. She's definitely great, especially that scene that I mentioned in that episode. She really killed it. Episode 8 top comment coming from Janet D. The writers and producers wanted to limit the inner monologue, and that's why they inserted the inner ghost of Harry. They could accomplish the same exposition through another format. Up until that point, I wasn't really even thinking of the ghost Harry as internal monologue, even though clearly it was. I really don't know what I was thinking it was at that point, other than just kind of like a memory or a daydream. That definitely makes sense though. Episode 9 top comment coming from Trinity Franklin. Another compliment. I truly appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad that you're enjoying the videos. We're gonna go further down. This one coming from Otterman. Dexter sometimes says the word Showtime, which ironically is the channel network which actually showed Dexter when it aired. I don't know if that's confirmed, but if it is, that's actually pretty funny. Maybe that allowed them to get away with a little bit, extra stuff. A lot of channels probably wouldn't allow some gratuitous things on their, platform. Episode number 10. Top comment coming from Vera Fry. I feel like I discovered a hidden gem with your channel. Love the Dexter reactions. Please keep them coming. Again, appreciate it. I hope the channel doesn't stay a hidden gem for too long. I am enjoying the fact that it is a small channel, so I do get to interact with a lot of you guys and see you guys on every video, see the comments. That's definitely a nice part about being a small channel. But if we are going to improve the channel, we do need growth. And that's on me. So another one on this coming from John Lope is something I want to address as well. I really hope react to the whole show and New Blood. Not many reactors doing Dexter. I understand why they're not. They have every right to claim a video if they want to. The channel's not monetized. I'm not getting paid for any of this. Even when that does happen, I have no problem with just the ones getting blocked. That's really annoying. I do plan to finish the show. If stuff gets really bad, we might do double episodes just to kind of condense it so I don't have to do as many videos for, that season or whatever season's not good. We'll deal with that when it comes. Episode number 11, top comment coming from Arizona. Season 3 is one of, if not my favorite season, and its ending is so good. Can't wait for the finale of the season. It's definitely a great season, for sure. Of course, I'm going to wait until I finish the series to decide which season is my favorite, and I can't say that out of the ones I've watched, I have a favorite yet. I think they all brought something different to the table. Even though the stories were somewhat similar, there was always a uniqueness to each season so far that I feel like I just need that full perspective before I can even choose. Episode number 12, top comment. I am filming this on the day of this is released, so if this is not the top comment anymore, then hey, I'm sorry. But as of right now, top comment coming from Vader. We're almost at one of the greatest seasons of television ever. You guys have been talking this season up like crazy, so I'm assuming it's going to be very, very good. But I'm going to temper my expectations because I want to take it for what it is. Anyway, I appreciate all the comments and definitely all those compliments and whatnot that you guys give and all the support. It definitely means a lot, and it's great to hear that you guys are enjoying these videos because I definitely enjoy making them. And I hope some of that, shines through in the edits themselves or in the videos themselves. But yeah, we're not going to get sappy. Like, you guys don't want to hear that. Come on. Tension between Deb and Dexter is, I think, inevitable coming up in this next season. With Deb on Harry's trail, it's really only a matter of time before she finds out a bunch of stuff. I'm not really sure what she's gonna find out, or if Dexter hid some of the evidence that he found, like those tapes that he was listening to, that Dokes found. Because if Deb listens to those tapes, it'll probably lead to a bit of fallout between them. And that's what I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about her in the tier list is, she might need a lot of support beyond Dexter this next season, depending on how things go. Rita's first husband might be something that comes back up. It would seem like such a throwaway plot point for the writers to just introduce that into the last episode of this season and then never pick it up again. I may be completely off with that, but you know, who knows? He might be a complication down the line. We're probably going to learn some more about Quinn next season. I still think he's a dirty cop, but hey, who knows? I could be wrong. There is probably going to be some trouble in paradise between Rita and Dexter, just judging by the symbolism of the blood on the wedding dress. I just feel like that's a bad omen, or maybe that was just them kind of showing that Dexter has corrupted Rita in some way. I don't know. This season definitely was not as much of a roller coaster as last season was, but I think that's a good thing, because I wouldn't necessarily want these seasons to mesh together, and it was nice to get a bit of a breather. We still covered a lot of ground, it just felt a lot less chaotic than last season did. Dexter's normal life continues to flourish, but the bloodstained wedding dress really just makes me wonder, when is it all gonna come crumbling down? Maybe this next season. You guys seem to love it a lot, so I'm assuming there's going to be a lot that's going to happen. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and leave a comment down below with your favorite part of the season as a whole, or anything you might want to share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell just so you never miss another one of these videos, and I will see you all in season 4.